Welcome to the Scale and Exit Show, where every week, I'm bringing amazing guests, and today is no different. I've got my main man, my new friend, Jose Flores. Thanks for coming on, brother. Appreciate that you're here.
Thank you, man. I'm excited for the invitation, brother. I can't wait to rock and roll with you.
Let's do it. So, but hey, before we jump in, I'm going to read a bio, right? This is an impressive bio. I can't wait to read it. So, Jose Flores is CEO and founder of Indispensable now. He's a Les Brown protege, dynamic international motivational speaker, mental toughness expert, and author, whose book we're going to talk about today, which I've just purchased. I can't wait to get it. And I got a signed copy, which is awesome. Jose travels all around the world using his unique story of growing up with a physical disability and struggles associated with it. His main message is to never allow your struggles to become your standard and how to overcome them. It doesn't matter if they're personal or business struggles. He will show you how to push through until you get through. Jose's passion is to inspire and motivate everyone he meets to learn more, do more, and become more. He has been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, Thrive Global, and has been featured on multiple television networks to share his powerful story. His positive can-do attitude have impacted lives across the globe. Wow, brother, I'm excited to have you on. Anything I missed?
Nah, man, that's the short version.
I love it. So give everybody just, watching out here, we got small business owners, entrepreneurs, people that want to better themselves, right? People that are stuck and got to get unstuck. Spend 3 or 4 minutes and just give everybody your Reader Digest story.
Yeah, man. First of all, thank you for having me. And I just want to let everyone listening or watching know that everything you do in life starts in the mind. Yeah. It starts in the mind first. So whatever you tell yourself, whatever you believe, whatever you're speaking, the people you hang around, everything that's going on in your mind is going to affect your current reality and your future reality as well, as long as you make the right choices and decisions.
That's so true. I mean, I talk all the time about mindset, right? And I know we're going to get into, you have an acronym of MIND, which I can't wait to uncover, but there's so many people out there, they lose before they start because they don't fix this, right?
That's right. That's right.
And you and your story have done that, right?
Yeah, I've learned how to fix it, man. I've learned how to fix it because of the situation that I've been through in life.
Yeah,
I'm still going through, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So what is that situation so the audience knows?
So for those that don't know me or haven't seen me or anything, I don't know if you can even tell in this video, but I'm in a wheelchair.
Right.
And I'm permanently in a wheelchair now due to a condition that I was born with called spinal muscular atrophy. It's a neuromuscular disease that weakens my muscles the older I get. Yeah. So in other words, as I continue, when I was younger, I was fine. I was a normal young boy, running, walking, doing the things that, young boys do. Right. And as I got older, this condition progressively started to decrease my mobility, my muscles, right? And so, I had a great childhood. I went to high school, middle school, and everything was great. But in high school, that's when I really started feeling a shift in my body around my senior year. And I wrote in the book that we're going to talk about, I wrote a story in there about what happened to me on my high school graduation. It's an amazing story. You got to get the book to read it because I don't want to let the cat out the bag. But in high school was when my body started shifting and it started to get, becoming more difficult for me to just go up and down the stairs or even just sit and stand. I had to figure out, new ways to move around. And the doctor said that by the age of 15, I'd be in a wheelchair. And they told me that when I was around 11 or 12 years old. So you can imagine, as I get closer to 15, I'm like, oh man, this is it. And that was the mindset that I had, this thing could kick in at any moment. And it actually didn't happen until I was 22. So 7 years later, after the doctors guesstimated, was when I ended up in a wheelchair. So I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York, and had a great childhood, And then when I moved to Florida when I was 22. So all this happened when I was 22. I moved to Florida. A couple months later, I lose my ability to walk. And then I'm in a dark place, man. As a 22-year-old, you're thinking hey, man, I'm about to experience everything that life has to offer. And you feel like you're officially an adult now, right? 21, 22 years old. And so when I lost my ability to walk, I was in a dark place, man. And I thought that I would never be able to do anything great in life. I thought my life was over, really. I thought it was ruined. I thought I was going to be living at home with my parents the rest of my life and just live and die in this wheelchair, just slowly rotting away. And so, yeah, that's how that's why I'm in a wheelchair, is due to this condition. And it took it took several years for me to realize, what life is really about and how to really develop that proper mindset. Because as I mentioned, as my body was getting weaker, the older I got, the weaker my muscles were getting. So every time my body went through a new phase, I not only had to learn how to adapt and adjust physically, but I had to learn how to adapt and adjust mentally because of the new level of decreasing in my ability that I was experiencing. So, man, it's crazy how powerful the mind really is. And that's why I coined myself the mental toughness expert, because I really know how to activate that mind and really how to train the brain, in essence, to overcome life when tragedy or adversity or struggles come along.
Yeah, what a great story and background, and thank you for sharing it, and thank you for inspiring others. Talk to us about, I really want to get into, before we get into the book, the acronym of M.I.N.D and what that means and what you teach with that, because I think that's important for the audience to understand that.
Yeah, man. And not only is it important, but it's powerful, man. Like, people really need to understand how powerful the mind is, because you can literally, and I talk about this in the book, you can literally think yourself in or out of any situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like whatever story you're telling yourself, that becomes your reality. So if you're always saying, "Oh man, I'm never gonna make it," or "Oh man, I can't do this," or "I can't do that," which was what I was doing for several years. I was always focusing on the things that I couldn't do. But if you have that type of mindset that's like, "Oh man, I'm never gonna get a break," or "Oh man, you're always complaining," then that's gonna be your reality. That's gonna be your life. You're gonna always be miserable. You're gonna always be bitter, and that's the energy that you're gonna push out, and nobody's gonna really want to be around you, unless it's other people who are, have that same energy. Misery loves company, right? So you're going to attract what you give out. So it's important to understand how powerful the mind is. And so I created an acronym for mine, because for me, I love acronyms. They make me remember things, right? A lot of people like acronyms. So the M stands for manage your thoughts. We have to manage our thoughts, and and there's ways that we can do that. We can, we all have the same amount of time in a day. We all have to plan and be organized and execute, right? But with everything that's going on in our lives, with social media and the news and books and other people's conversations around us and the conversations that we're having, Cleveland Clinic actually did a study that says that we think 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day.
Wow.
That's a whole lot of thoughts. And then that's our own thoughts, and that's not even including all the extra stuff with our kids and our wives and our families and this and that. That's a ton of information that we're getting bombarded with on a daily basis. So how do we manage our thoughts, right? I get into that in great detail. So the M stands for managing thoughts. The I stands for initiating action, right? In order for you to go to the next level in any capacity in life, whether it's business, personal, social, you want to be able to start initiating that action. That's the only way for you to level up in life. You don't have to be told what to do. You see, for me, the reason I use that word initiating action was because for me, I was always like insecure with my decision-making process. So I always had to be affirmed, and I was always feeling like I needed to be qualified. Like people saying like, "Yeah, it's okay to do this. Like, you want to go ahead, go move, give me the green light." You know what I mean? I was like never wanting to make a move without somebody qualifying that move first.
Right.
And it took for me to be able to develop that mental muscle that says, be confident in your decision-making, be confident in the choices that you make. And so I started initiating action. And when I did that, it changed my life. You know what I mean? It changed my life. And that's why I've been able to see the levels of success that I've been able to reach. And I'm not even scraping the surface yet. I just really got started into the whole personal development and speaking thing professionally just 3 years ago. Before that, I was in corporate America for over 20 years, and in the customer service and hospitality industry. So being able to initiate that action was what I was able to use to help me get to that next level. And then the N stands for no negativity. I have this 3 rule. that I don't even answer a phone call unless the phone call is positive, productive, or profitable.
Yeah. Amen.
And there's no exceptions to that, you know? So no negativity, no negative people, no negative music, no negative TVs. Again, we can't control a lot of things in life,
Right.
but we can control what we allow to enter into our sphere of influence, right? Into our mind, into our eye gateways, into our ears, what we listen to, right? Again, going back to, you know, the conversations that we're having and the ones that are going on around us. And so no negativity. And that means and that means friends and family included, right? Sometimes we have to cut people out, you know, if they're not positive, productive, or profitable, you know, family and friends included, we have to cut them off because it just becomes dead weight, right?
Yep.
And then the D, which is my favorite one, is to determine to add value to yourselves and others. Because you can't add value to anyone else until you value yourself first. You just can't. You have to know that what you bring to the table is worth something.
Yeah.
And well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, what a powerful, and I agree with every single one of those points. I mean, it's just, it's, you know, the mind is such a powerful thing, and how you control your thoughts and condition yourself for success or failure, right? I mean, it starts with you. It starts here, right here in the heart, and then it's controlled right here in the mind, right? So if you're telling yourself, I'll never be successful, I'll never lose weight, I'll never be in a marriage, I'll never do whatever, guess what? You'll never do it, right? Because you already lost. I mean, I love that. The other thing I love, and I want to make sure I capture it correctly, productivity, positivity, and what was the other P? Profitability. Yeah. I love that, right? I mean, so many people don't respect what you just said as far as, you know, I tell people all the time, listen, who's in your tribe?
That's
right? Who's your tribe? Because if you hang out with somebody that's negative or is broke or has the wrong mindset, that's going to be you. That's going to happen, right? I mean, how powerful is that? I mean, to surround yourself with the right people. I mean, it's critical, isn't it?
It's absolutely critical. They say that, you know, if you hang around with 9 broke dudes, guess what number you're going to be?
Yeah, 10.
10. So you are who you hang out with, man. And, you know, you hear everybody say, you know, show me who you hang out with and I can show you, you know, your future.
Yeah, that's so true, right? I mean, you always need to level up. You always need to give back. You need to be a good person, but, you know, you need to surround yourself with what you want to become. And it starts here in the mind. Talk to me about how you hooked up with Les Brown. I mean, that's a big figure, right?
Oh man, that's a huge figure, brother. That thing right there is what really changed my life also.
Yeah.
And again, that story, I talk about that in great detail. I even created a flow chart in my book to kind of show the order of events on how that whole thing happened, man. It was absolutely like crazy. Like it's one of those things like you would never think could ever happen, but they happened. You know what I mean? So I had to write about it so that people could understand like, yo, this is a true story. You know? So, I mean, long story short though, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw a post from the Get Motivated seminars. They traveled all over the United States doing, you know, tours. And I saw that he was going to be speaking in my town, in my city, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And it was free. It was a free event. So I was like, oh, snap, Les Brown, free event? I'm in. And so, you know, well, just let me just go back a little bit. When I spoke about, I was always focusing on the things that I couldn't do in life, right? For so many years, focusing on, I can't do this, I can't walk, I can't stand, I can't lift my arms above my head. And there was a little shifting that happened like in my late 20s, late 20s, early 30s. Actually, for all the people listening as well, I just turned 41 this year. The doctor said that I wouldn't even.
You look like a young man. I just turned 40. So welcome to the club.
Yeah, man. Respect the elders tonight. Yeah, exactly. I'm just kidding, bro. But yeah, man. So, you know, I was always focusing on that for so many years. And then, you know, in my late 20s, early 30s, that's when I said, you know what? I'm not going to let this wheelchair defeat me. I'm not going to let this wheelchair define me. And I'm not going to let this wheelchair dictate my destiny. And I made a choice, man. Like I said, it starts in the mind. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, bro. I was like, you know what? I know that there has to be more than life than just living and dying in this wheelchair, and I'm going to find it. And so I said, you know, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. So I said, well, I asked myself, what can you do? You know, what are you good at doing? What abilities do you still have that you can use today? And I said, you know what? I still have my voice.
Yeah.
Still have my voice. So I used my voice and I said, you know what? I'm going to look into motivational speaking. I YouTubed it, found Les Brown and several others, but he was my favorite. I connected with his story. I connected with his passion and his delivery. And I just studied him like crazy. So anyway, going back to the story, I seen that he was going to be in Fort Lauderdale. So I was like, man, this dude was like my mentor without me even knowing him all these years. Right. And so I said, I got to go meet this dude. So I went to the event and, I went with the intentions of trying to meet him, but I missed him, right? At the end of the event, there was so many people trying to get his attention. And plus there was people there because he's from Miami. So he knew people from over here anyhow that were there to see him again. And I was a nobody at that point, so I couldn't get in. But I was able to meet the host of the event, the host of the show, who him and I started talking with each other. And I gave him my speaker kit. Right? It was a manila envelope, and it had all my information in there with some DVDs of me speaking and my story and stuff like that. So he said, "Hey, I'm gonna give this to the CEO of Get Motivated, and hey, you never know what happens." I was like, "Hey, you're right. So let me give you two. Let me give one for you and one for him." So he went backstage, and then like a few moments later, he came back out. And I see him through my peripheral, like walking towards me. And in my head, I'm like, he can't be walking back towards me. Right. So anyway, he's walking back again. And again, this is like the power of the mind, right? I'm already telling myself that I'm not good enough for greatness. So he can't be walking towards me, right? And so I'm already defeating myself, but he's walking towards me. And he approaches me. He's like, "Hey, listen, dude, I took your information. I gave it to the CEO. His name is Brian Forte. And he's like, he wants to know if he can meet you at the end of the show." So I was like, "Wow, yeah, absolutely. I can stay after and meet him." So I stayed after, met him, we spoke, and he was like, "Hey, listen, man, we're on tour. Our next stop is in West Palm Beach, Florida next week. Are you able to make it?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. Wow, what's up?" And he was like, "Listen, man, I heard you're an up-and-coming speaker. I'll give you 10 minutes to show me what you got." So I was blown away. I'm like, there's like 2,800 to 3,000 people at this event. And I'm like the lucky one, right? Yeah. So I'm like, "Hey, dude, I'll show up." So I went the next week. Again, now Les Brown, he's the headliner on this tour. So in my head, I'm thinking like, man, this next week, I'm going to have backstage access. I'm definitely going to meet this dude next week. Yeah. So I go to the thing, I do my thing. And Les, he literally gets to the event right before he's scheduled to get on stage. So I go to the front in the audience because I want to see him do his thing again. And soon as he gets off, on my head, I'm like, soon as he gets off, I'm running backstage. I'm gonna connect with them. I'm gonna give him my information. So as soon as he gets off, I go back and I'm like, "Hey, where's Les, man? He did a great job. I want to talk to him right quick." And they're like, "Man, this guy flew out the door. He left already." I'm like, "What? The guy literally just got off stage." Anyhow, man, long story short, I get a phone call. I missed him that day again. So I get a phone call from a friend of mine who's speaking down at the Miami Dolphin Stadium. He's also a speaker as well. Shout out to Dr. Robert Lemon. He's the one who invited me, man, and I talk about him in the book as well. But he said, "Hey, I got 2 tickets for this event that I'm going to be speaking at. If you and your wife want to come." I was like, "Yeah, man, absolutely." I was like, "I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get there in time because I'm up here in West Palm Beach, but I'll definitely be there." And he said, "Hey, guess who's going to be speaking here?" I said, "Who?" He said, "Les Brown." I said, "Oh man, that's why he flew out the door, because he had to go to Miami." So anyway, long story short, again, I get to Miami and I finally meet Les Brown, give him my information, took a picture, shook his hand, and that was on a Wednesday. That Thursday, I go back to work, and I'm thinking like, it's back to regularly scheduled programming, right? So I get a phone call from an odd number, and I'm thinking it's like somebody that I gave my card to that we're networking or whatever. And they're like, "Hi, can I speak to Jose?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is him. Who's this?" And he's like, "Hi, Jose, this is Les Brown." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. Les Brown is on my cell phone." Yeah. And it was just amazing, man. After then, we had like about a 45-minute conversation. And then after that, that was all she wrote, man. We've been working together ever since. He's been coaching me, training me. He did the forward to my new book that I just wrote. He wrote the forward to it. He's done video endorsements for me. We went on tour last year to a couple spots. And it's just been an amazing journey for me, my brother. And I say that because I didn't have all the name of let me just throw the title of my book out there, then we'll talk about it in a little bit. But the title of my book is called "Don't Let Your Struggle Become Your Standard." how to be indispensable even when the odds are stacked against you.
Yeah.
And you talk about odds being stacked against you. My parents divorced when I was 2 years old. My dad passed away when I was 10, and then I lose my ability to walk at 22.
Wow.
I mean, I could have been. I had all the ingredients to become a nobody in life.
Yeah.
You know, to go down that path of destruction and to go down that path of depression and just living an average, mediocre life. But I said, no, I'm not gonna follow in those footsteps, man. The curse, breaks, it stops. The buck stops here, man. And for me, from my generation, from me and forward, it's gonna be a different story.
I love that, man. And what I love even more is you're living your acronym, right? You said here, it starts here, I made a choice. The second thing you did is you initiated action.
That's right.
Without you doing that initiating action, you would have never have gotten there. And I think so many people, right, because it starts here and then they don't, even if they can convince themselves, they're so scared to initiate action, right? I mean, this is a great example. If you wouldn't have initiated that action, if you wouldn't have grabbed whatever you had in you to say, hey, I'm good enough for this, I'm going to give you my kit, right? Your life would be totally different right now.
Absolutely. I would still probably be working at corporate America at a desk job, living an average life.
Yeah. Now you're flying around the globe. You're a keynote speaker. You're with Les Brown. I mean, it's amazing, what's transformed, and it's all what you're talking about in your book and in your mindset, and I think, Jose, for the people listening, they need to understand, hey, whatever your dream is, you can do it. Right. But it starts here, and you got to take that action. You got to do it, whatever it is. And, I talk a lot about failure, right? I mean, because, even though you initiated that action, I bet you failed a whole lot before that. Right. And you've got to overcome failure and failure and failure and keep going and going, because at some point success is always around the corner, but it's never going to be around the corner if you don't take action. Right.
That's right. And, we're still going to fail. You know what I mean?
Amen.
We're going to always fail. And one thing that I want to mention as well, because it just hit me, I'm watching you speak. We can't take anything in life for granted, man. I talk about that in my speech, man. We cannot take anything in life for granted, and we have to have an attitude of gratitude. We have to be grateful for the things that we do have, because there's always somebody out there that's worse off, I look at my friend, Nick Santonastasso. I don't know if you know who he is. No legs, one arm guy.
Yeah.
Powerful dude, man, and it's like, you look at me and then you look at him and he's like, man, he doesn't have any legs and he only has one arm. Me, I still have my 2 arms and my 2 legs. I just can't use them the way I would like to. Right. But one of the things, man, I learned is that you can't take life for granted, man. And I used to take things for granted as well. So I'm not judging, I used to take things for granted until it was taken away from me. And so now through that, I've learned not to take anything for granted. And the reason I say that is because I'm watching you speak and I keep seeing you point to your heart and to your head. And let me ask you a question. How many times did you have to think twice about doing that?
It's just natural for me.
It's natural, right? You don't even think about it. But for me, I have to go through this process. Like, I can't even lift my arm up on its own. So I have to hold my arm up with my cheek just to be able to go like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, how long that took me. It was a process.
Yeah.
It's not like you that you could just, you don't even think about it. You know what I'm saying? Your brain is already conditioned that it's a movement that you don't even think about, because our brains are programmed to create habits. And the reason they do that is because habits our brain looks at habits as ways of economizing its energy. Right? So it creates habits. So the brain doesn't have to think about every single thing. So it creates habits. So you do them involuntary, like you pointing to your head. You didn't have to think about that. You just did it because you created a habit of moving your arms when you want, how you want, and how you want, right? But the brain creates habits for that. And that, it even goes deeper than that, man. I'm telling you, when I get into the mind thing, bro, that even falls into the normal day-to-day habits that we create in our lives. Yeah. Not only physical habits, but mental habits. Like when you wake up, what's the first thing you do? Like you create a habit. If you wake up and you're always saying, oh, I'm tired, then you're going to be tired the whole day. If you wake up with an energy and a fire, like, oh man, thank you, God, for waking me up today. Did I get into that wheelchair? You know what I mean? I used to look at the wheelchair like, oh man, when I first got it, had to get in a wheelchair, I was like, oh dang, I got to get into that thing again.
Right.
Now I wake up and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get into the chair, because the chair, there's people that don't even have the privilege of having a chair. There's people in countries that are crawling on the floor. So I wake up like, man, I'm thankful for that chair, because if I don't get into this chair, then I don't get the opportunity to inspire, impact, and come across people's lives that I can potentially help change their perspective and their mindsets. So I just wanted to mention that out there, because I saw you moving around, pointing at your head, and I was like, man, he's doing that without even thinking about it.
Yeah, no, it's inspiring. Talk a little bit about the book, and at the end here, I want to make sure we plug the website, your website, where everybody can get it. Again, I bought it. You did a signed copy. Thank you. I should be getting it in a couple days. I can't wait to read it. But you want to share just a little bit so the audience knows, why they should get it?
Yeah, man. First of all, I want to mention that I have the physical copy and I also have the audio book as well. The audio is amazing. Both of them are on my website. You can get it from audible.com, Amazon, whatever. But if you want a signed copy, you'd have to get it from my website. So it comes directly to me and my team, and I'll sign it and we ship it out. And I also have these cool, hoodies as well on my website.
I'll get one of those hoodies. And I see if you guys are wondering, those stacks of boxes are just some of his inventory. So I'm going to definitely get one of those hoodies.
Yeah. And the cool thing is that in the back of the hoodie, it says #WatchMeWork.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, the book, man, again, is called Don't Let Your Struggle Become Your Standard: How to Be Indispensable Even When the Odds Are Stacked Against You. And the reason why I wrote that book, man, was because I know firsthand what struggle looks like. I know firsthand what struggle is, how it feels, and how much people want to get over the struggle, right? So I wrote the book with the intentions of sharing my stories, sharing my experiences, but also giving people tools on how to train the brain to get over these hurdles that we're going to have to get over in life, right? Because, no one is exempt, right, from struggle. Struggle is one of those things that everybody's going to experience. No one is exempt from them, no matter where you come from, what kind of family background you have, how much money you have. A struggle is a struggle, and everybody's going to go through it. But I want to help people learn how they don't have to let that become the standard, because a lot of times things will happen to us in life, a tragedy or a situation or circumstance, a breakup, or anything can happen, right, in life, and we'll allow that occurrence to keep us stuck from moving forward in life. And somebody could have done us wrong. Somebody could have hurt us. Somebody could have said something to us that, sticks and stones may break our bones, right? But words will never hurt us. That's a lie. So somebody may have said something to us, and we're holding on to that for years and years and years, and we never reached our full potential because we haven't let those things go.
Yeah.
So I help you in the book how to learn how to overcome your struggle and how not to let it become your standard. But the thing I love about my book is that when you read a lot of books, you'll read a lot about people saying how they did this, how they did that, but they don't really give you practical action steps on how they did it, right? They'll tell you how they did it, but they won't actually give you the secret sauce. So in the book, I lay out at the end of every chapter specific practical action steps that you can take immediately to help start training your brain to overcome whatever struggle you may be going through, whether it's spiritual, emotional, relational, social, personal, economical, financial, any type of struggle. I'm going to help you push through until you get through. And the cool thing about the book also is that at the end of every chapter, I embedded a QR code. There's a QR code at the end of every chapter that you can scan with your mobile device or your tablet. That's a 1 to 2 minute video of me motivating you to action based off of the chapter that you just read. So I wanted to make the book engaging with our readers, so that they can say, I'm with you along the journey as you're reading the book. I'm there with you every step of the way, cheering you on, pushing you to action, telling you that you can do it, telling you that you can make it, making sure that you don't stop until you win.
Love it,
until
man.
you get that, until you reach that championship goal. And sometimes it takes longer than others to get there, but if you don't stop until you win, you'll get there eventually.
Wow. I love it, man. I can't wait. It's you're an inspiration, and we've been friends and following each other on Facebook, and you just love the content that you're putting out there. And
Thank you.
The M.I.N.D acronym to me is powerful. I think that's a really cool way to frame it up. And so many people listening to this need to process what you're saying right? You're not letting any circumstance stopping you until you win. And so for those people listening to this, push forward, chase those dreams, right? Don't let a circumstance, don't wake up 5, 10 years, 15 years from now and let your mind have caused, the issue of not being where you want to be. So it's powerful. So Jose, as we kind of wrap this up, where's the best place to follow you, your social handles, to buy the book? Where can people reach you?
Yeah, so to buy the book, you can visit my website. Like I mentioned, the website is www.joseinspires.com. And you can reach out to me on any social media platform at Jose Inspires as well. So I made it all uniformed, very easy to find me on any platform. It's at Jose Inspires. Website is joseinspires.com. You can also email me if you have any questions, or because I'm all about, remember what I said, the D is determined to add value to yourself and others. So if you need help, or you need a push, or you just need some motivation, you can email me at info@joseinspires.com, and me and my team will get back to you. And I'm really active on all my social media platforms. The one I use the most is Instagram and Facebook. Mostly are my two main ones, but I'm on everything: Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, LinkedIn. I'm on it all.
Awesome, man. Is there any last words of wisdom or counsel that you want to leave the audience with?
Yeah, man, I just want to let you know, like I said, I'm really passionate about people being stuck in their own heads and stuck in their old ways of thinking. Nothing in life is ever going to change until you change. So if you're sitting and you're listening to this podcast, or you're watching this podcast, and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or you don't like your job, or you don't like the circumstances or the situation that you're in right now, you can control where you go from this point moving forward. Stop playing the blame game, pointing at people and saying, hey, I'm here because of this, or this happened to me, or that happened to me. Listen, I'm not disqualifying what happened to you, right? Because everybody goes through things. But what I'm saying is that, how long are you going to allow yourself to live an average and mediocre life by thinking the way that you're thinking? If you want more, you can have it. You just got to go get it. And you have to make that choice and that decision that says, I won't stop until I win, baby. Let's go.
Initiate that action, brother. I love it. So for all you watching, this is the Scale and Exit Show with my man Jose. Go buy the book. It's game-changing. I can't wait to read it. If you haven't got my book, get it, scalewithspeed.com. And as always, make it happen.